Welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing Bahamas 1, Trinidad and Tobago 7 in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying round 2, 2026 World Cup qualifying Group B, round 2. Trinidad gets their bounce back game, has a +6 goal differential at the end of the night, 3 goals against, 9 goals for. They have 4 points now in the group. They play St. Kitts in the first game of next June. If they win that, they'll have 7 points. And they need to win by a good bit to up their goal differential to a position where if they lose to Costa Rica by a lot, they still would probably get through. Of course, we'll find out what the math looks like for that later tomorrow when Costa Rica plays Grenada. With that being said, though, Trinidad and Tobago get the win they need. Bahamas looked like they were playing like 10 tourists and one really good Bahamian player on the pitch today. That's exactly what it looked like. Goals were scored as follows. In the 6th minute, Malcolm Shaw, the Atletico Ottawa man, ball played into him. He puts it in to the near post, slots it home, 0-1 in the 6th minute. Penalty given in the 19th minute for Trinidad. Tackle, boot hits the top of the foot, no ball, penalty given. Alvin Jones takes the penalty, goes the same way as the keeper, but puts it just above his hand in the 19th minute to make it 0-2. Trinidad leads. Dwayne Maquette scores in the 43rd minute, shoots past 2 defenders. Goalkeeper doesn't even move. Ball hits the back of the net, 0-3 in the 43rd minute. 45th minute, Dwayne Maquette gets it again. Ball crossed into him. He's on the near post to him, the far post to the cross. But he's right in line with that post. Shoots it, puts the ball in, just tucks the ball in. 0-4, 45th minute at the half. It's 0-4 Trinidad. And it just gets a bigger win for Trinidad. More goals will be scored. 56th minute in the second half. Rion Moore scores his second of the qualifiers. Puts it away, 0-5 for Rion Moore. Malcolm Shaw scores his second of the game. Gets tripped up, gets clipped by a tackle, keeps making the run, slots the ball home, does limp away and gets subbed after the goal. But 0-6 in the 66th minute. Malcolm Shaw gets a second of the game. Nathaniel James in the 84th minute takes a run, shoots the ball in near post as the keeper is coming off his line from the angle, trying to close it down. He puts the ball away. 84th minute, 0-7 for Trinidad and Tobago. And Wood Julmis scores. Rebound given away by Denzel Smith. Falls to Julmis. He slots it home. 87th minute, 1-7. They get their consolation. They get one back. Doesn't really matter. Trinidad still dominates. Full-time, 1-7. Full-time stats are as follows. 9 shots to 22. 5 shots on goal to 1. Or 11, I should say, not 1. 11, which 7 of those went into the net. 5 shots on goal to 11. 24% possession to 76% possession. 236 passes to 767. 73% pass accuracy to 91, 7 fouls to 9, 1 offside to 2, 1 yellow card to 0, 0 red cards to 0, 1 corners to 4. Trinidad absolutely stomps out the Bahamas. After the game they played against Grenada, they needed to absolutely stomp out the Bahamas, and that's what they did. They rotated a little bit, and some of those rotation pieces got goals as well. Malcolm Shaw had a great game. The Atletico Ottawa man, Stephen Yates, former Toronto FC draft pick, played a bit. Looked okay. Looked good, I think. Everybody on Trinidad looked good, I would say. It depends on, were they good because of the situation or were they good because they were good? Who knows? Denzel Smith had a really good game. Yeah, he still had a horrible rebound given up, but he had a good game. Better than the Grenada game, only because, well, he had nothing to really face. So in that case, you could say maybe it was a bad game. But Trinidad played the game they were supposed to play. It was that simple. Trinidad played the game they were supposed to play. They looked the way they were supposed to. They had to bounce back. They had to win. They did it, and in style, in a romp, is what they did. Bahamas, I mean, they're 100 places down from Trinidad on the FIFA rankings. Of course, they were going to look this bad. This is exactly what a minnow who doesn't want to play football looks like. That's Bahamas. Yeah, they got forward. They got a goal. Good for them. Okay, but this is exactly what a minnow who doesn't want to play football looks like. That's my point. They did not want to put forward. They did not want to do anything but defend. And even when they were down 3 or 4, they were like, yeah, we're still going to defend. Trinidad sort of waved the white flag. I think for them, they should have tried to keep scoring goals, considering, yes, they will have a plus goal differential going into the game against Costa Rica. Going into next June, Grenada's going to have a minus, most likely have a minus goal differential, but they do play St. Kitts and Bahamas. So basically, it's a, do they match or better what Trinidad did? And does Trinidad have a worse loss to Costa Rica than Grenada did, knowing damn well the Costa Rica game is in Costa Rica for Trinidad, the game's in Grenada against Grenada for Costa Rica tomorrow. The question is it's all about the math. And we won't know this until, first off, tomorrow, early returns, we won't know. But we really won't know till next June. Did Trinidad do enough tonight? Should they have waved the white flag? Because I think a little bit later on in the second half, they were like, 7's enough, 6 is enough. After they got 6, they sort of were like, okay, if we get a goal, that'll be great. But we're done. We're done. That's enough. Is it, though? Is it, though? I don't know. I think if you're Trinidad after that first draw result, you go for everything you could get. They easily could have scored 10. If they really went for it, they easily could have scored 10 in this match. And they didn't. They chose to basically say, hey, 6 is enough, but they got a 7th. And in the end, that was a +6 goal differential because they allowed one anyway. And now it is +6 because 9 goals for, 3 goals against. 6 isn't a bad goal differential. Could Grenada better it, especially against Bahamas? Yeah, I think so. I think Bahamas are a dour team. They are a dour team. Even if they weren't playing 11 tourists, they might as well say, hey, lucky 11 tourists, you get to play this football match, because that honestly would probably be better than whatever the hell they put out there. Seriously, they looked dour. They could have had 10 scored on them, maybe even 12. And Trinidad said, no, 6 is enough. Then they got 7, 7's enough, and then they gave up 1, so it was 6 is enough. I think Trinidad could have kept the knife in the teeth. They could have, and they didn't. And that's the problem, is that may be what hurts them, is the fact they didn't keep the knife in the teeth. And who's to say, what if they do this to St. Kitts, right? St. Kitts had their moments recently over the past year. They're not a bad team. Let's see where they are next year. But again, if you're Trinidad, you have to keep that knife in the teeth. Because if you don't keep the knife between the teeth, you may get knocked out. This could come down to goal differential. This could come down to how bad did you get pasted by Costa Rica compared to Grenada. First part. Second part, how did Grenada do against St. Kitts and Bahamas? And you add all those numbers together. Yes, do they have to build out of a negative going into next month or next year, next June, the next window? Yeah, they do. They will probably have to build out of a negative. How big is that negative, though? They're at 0. Because it was a draw, goal differential-wise. They'll have to build out of the negative. -1, -2, -3. How much will it be? Knowing it's at their stadium. Now, have they been at their stadium getting pasted by teams like the USA? Yes, they have. Can Costa Rica do the same? Can Costa Rica put 5 past them, 6 past them? Knowing they would have to score maybe 10 goals to equal what Trinidad would probably have at the end of the window. Yeah, 10, 12, yeah. Could they do it? Yeah. Without allowing any? Who knows? Against, in those 2 games? Who knows? So Trinidad beating St. Kitts next June would probably be enough, but it's got to be a big win. Other than that, can't just be 1-0. I think a big win would be needed. Like, if you get to plus 10, 11, 12 goal differential, if you're Trinidad, then I think you could be like, okay, we're safe. Especially if they're like minus 4, 5, or 6 going into next month. Like, if you go into the St. Kitts game and you're like plus 12 and they're back to like 0, as long as you don't lose 4-0, you'll be fine. But again, there's a lot of pieces here to that, but Trinidad easily could have put this game away by more. And it sucks that they didn't, because that could really hurt them in the end, that they didn't put this game away by more. And that's the one thing that this is really telling me, is they could have won by 10. They could have scored 10 goals, 11 goals, won by 10. That's that. They didn't, though. And that's really probably going to hurt them. I legitimately think it'll hurt them. Or it has a likelihood of hurting them. Again, if Grenada has a better result at home than what Trinidad does in Costa Rica, depending on the situation, like you would want, if you're a Trinidadian, you would want Costa Rica to win by 5 or 6 tomorrow. Simple. If that happens, they start -5, -6 going into the final 2 games. They're going to have to score a lot of goals in both games just to equal the goal differential. And you got to hope that the goal scoring that Costa Rica does isn't enough to knock your goal differential to where it meets. But then they could probably get through on goals scored. So it's a situation that this may not end well. You're still on a tightrope. You got to hope for a lot to happen while doing your job, and you didn't exactly do your job. You got the 3 points. You could have added more goals, and you didn't, and that's the problem. Bahamas, they looked horrible. They could have got scored on 10, 11 times, and they didn't. So, with that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send super chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us to play. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I will see you tomorrow afternoon, 2:15, 2:10. 2:10 for the game France versus Canada. I will also be here later tonight. A live and a review for that game. I'll also be later Sunday night for Montserrat versus Panama, live in RSR. We will be able to do a double tomorrow. It's been a little bit, I know, of 2 double games, but we could go a little bit later. It'll be a fun one. So, there we go. With that being said, I'll see you later. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you.